welcome back. For those of you who are new here, hello, my name is Astuti Marto Sudirjo. I am the holder of the Uplift My Life Today transformational space and the host of this podcast channel where we discuss about love, authenticity, and how to live an uplifting and fulfilling life with ease. The most significant benefit of my job or my role as a transformation catalyst and consciousness reprogrammer is the opportunity to witness my client's soul emerging as they evolve to embody their authentic selves. I witness that each journey has a very unique starting point, unique path, unique timing, and unique progression. There is no transformation that is exactly the same, even when the lessons are very similar. So I created this Love Wins conversation or series to celebrate the courage and the commitments of these freedom fighters to love themselves no matter what. And I want you to hear their inspiring stories directly from them. So I invite you to grab your comforting beverages, or if you plan to listen to this episode walking, put on your walking shoes now. If you listen to this episode while you're traveling or driving, please do it safely as we are starting soon. May this conversation touch you in the best ways for your highest truth and good. Today, I have the honor to have Jourdan Hussein with me. And welcome, Jourdan.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. Thank
It is
you.
really lovely to have you here today.
My pleasure. It's also very exciting for me to be here just right after my birthday.
Exactly. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my
Wow.
God. One more year.
Yes.
And there's a lot
Yes.
to celebrate in your life. And we're going
Oh,
to talk about that
yes.
today.
Let's do it.
So before I started, you will hear Jourdan say mbak, the word mbak. This is very Indonesian, so I just want to clarify for people who are not Indonesian. They probably wonder, what is he talking about? Who is he talking about when he says mbak? Mbak is a term of endearment to a woman who is older than the person who's speaking it. So yes, I am certainly much older than Jourdan, even after his birthday. So this is an automatic thing. We grew up this way in Indonesia, which also I would like to then say that Jourdan is an Indonesian native global citizen who serves as an executive leadership coach for the tech leaders and founders. He is also the founder of Wise Underdog, which I am sure he will tell us about in this conversation.
Mhm.
Jourdan is based in Spain today, but you'll never know where he's going to go next. So, I got to know Jourdan in 2019 when I was recommended to him by another client of mine. At the time, Jourdan was undergoing a very intense transformation process, which we will hear more about from him. When Jourdan and I had our discovery call, I sensed this potent yet restless energy. It's like this energy finding its way out and up. It's almost like a volcano is erupting somehow. This energy is trying to find its way to come out from the earth, and it has the potential of leaving a really deep marks or trails. That's what I felt when I had this conversation with Jourdan. It was very strong and intense, but also very restless. I also felt there was a sense of urgency and that time was of the essence here, that kind of energy. So I recognize Jourdan's energy as that of a trailblazer. I am familiar with this type of energy because I am one myself. You know what they say? It takes one to know one. So while this energy is very powerful, it can create inner havoc when not handled with much love and care. And that was the beginning of our connection. So, Jourdan's story today is about love wins trailblazing. And this is one that is still going on until today. So, I am happy. I'm very, very happy for you to be here, Jourdan, and to share your story. So, welcome again.
Thank you, Ma. What a very generous and kind introduction to my transformation journey. Thank you.
It
Thank you.
is
My
a
pleasure.
it's an amazing, amazing journey, really. I mean, 2019 is almost 6 years ago. It didn't feel that long though, right?
I know it didn't feel that long, but it is been that long.
It's been that long, and it's been like I think you have gone through multiple rebirths in
Oof,
those six
too
years.
many rebirths, too many pains.
This potent energy is there for a good reason, Jordan, as we both know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. It was an initiation.
yeah, it was, yeah, exactly. So to kick off this conversation, I'm really, really curious. What would be the title of your autobiography if you were to publish one today?
Ooh, I already knew I was actually gonna write it, but I haven't had time to sit down and just like buckle down and write it all up. It's gonna be unlearned.
Unlearn.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Okay, we are going to discover what that is in this story.
Yeah.
It would be
Yes,
why it would be unlearned. And I have one more question. If you were an animal, flower, or plant, what would you be?
I'm an eagle.
An eagle.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good. So, Jordan, please take us back to 2019 as much as you can. What happened?
All right. For those of you who don't believe in astrology, I let me convince you. 2019 is when I turned 30. It's when people they say in astrology, a Saturn return, the planet Saturn in your orbit comes back to its original starting point and just create life-changing things in your life. For me, as you said, like I've been restless. I had been just like confused, disoriented after pretty much ticking all the boxes what society and my parents want me to do and to have done. And for me to set the goals for myself, having been conditioned in a such society that I grew up with, which is both of us did in Indonesia, it was getting all the fancy degrees, scholarships, the best academic achievers, a six-figure salary, living in so many countries, learn so many languages, travel to maybe at that time 30 plus countries. And yet I was still restless. Like I thought this is the end of it. I thought this is, oh, when I get this master's degree, when I get this job, when I live in this country, when I get this salary, I'll be happy. Didn't happen. And I was like,
What
what
age
else should
was
I
that?
get? I
What
was
age?
when I was 28 already.
Right. So by the age of
So
28, you have achieved all those things.
yes, I had
Right.
by the age of 28, I pretty much tick all the boxes. Like I went to Stanford, I went to Oxford, I went to Wesleyan, they all paid for my, it's all paid by scholarship. I went to the most prestigious forum, like Davos World Economic Forum in China. Like I work at the president's office. Like I did tick all the accolades that society would give me respect for.
Yeah.
And from 28 to 30, which is like 2 years before 2019, I was still like, oh, let me just put more marks. Like, let me be the most, I don't know, like impressive leader in this tech company I just joined. Let me learn more languages, so and perfect my Chinese. You know, like I learned five
More is
languages, and
more. More is
more
more.
is more and more. Like give me more, give me external validation, so I can feel happy. I didn't. It still was. I was still very restless, and to be honest, before 2019, I was already embarking on a somewhat spiritual journey of meditation and silent meditation retreats, just like where is this going? I was still restless. And I remember that was February 2019. I turned 30. I went to Bali and I wrote in my journal. Somebody gave me this journal about holistic wellness, which I never really knew back then. And like, what is your goal for your money, for your relationships, for your health, for your friendships, for your job? for many aspects of my life. And I start pondering, like, oh, I actually don't want this anymore. I want inner peace. I want kindness. I want gentleness. That's what my soul spoke to me. My mind obviously, this is not what I want, but deep down, this is what I wanted. And since then, somehow, be careful what you wish for when you call that. The universe just gave it to you.
Exactly.
And
It always listens.
yeah, and in the most surprising way possible. Like, holy shit, I was invited to join this retreat in Latin America, in Central America. Leadership, they say leadership retreat. Of course,
Mm.
it's packaged in a very sexy way. It's very appealing for type A overachievers like me, right? Oh, you're gonna transform your life, be a better person, that. Like maybe this will help me, I don't know, go further in life. It was in Costa Rica. It would have been 30 plus hours of flight and journey to get there. But me being me, I'm like, I'm gonna make this happen. I will go. So even after traveling, I don't know, at that time I was working a tech job in Singapore, traveling to many countries in Southeast Asia almost every month, including that summer before the retreat. I also already went to Paris and Stockholm. I came back and I flew again to Costa Rica. That's how crazy
Committed.
potent energy and committed ambition that I have about pursuing my transformation or being ambitious in my own transformation, right? Which is crazy that, and you introduced this show with ease. I was not with ease with my transformation. I was gung ho. I was like very
Let's
passionate.
go.
Let's freaking go. Let's face this shit. Like, what is this? Um, and here, I did not know. I mean, I was briefly introduced. Oh, he's gonna incorporate plant medicine.
Mm.
It's this type of plant medicines that grew in Amazon forests. It's probably indigenous to the continent. It's also found, I mean, many other indigenous community have their own proprietary similar plants that allow you to go deep within your soul. Some of you may have heard it. It's called ayahuasca, and it's legal there. In some countries, it's not legal because just how transformational and powerful this plant is. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of also regulations that say this plant is not for everyone, especially if you have history of like schizophrenia or like mental health disorders. So I just didn't know. I was just like being a type A. I'm like, bring me whatever that will transform my life. I went. Holy shit. I did not know what it will take me to. Um, so long story short, I did the whole retreat and I went deep to the darkness of my soul. I think that was when I basically went through this popular term in spirituality or spiritual journey called the dark night of the soul.
Mm.
I
It
faced
is dark
in,
though,
it was,
literally.
can I swear here?
Sure, of course.
It's fucking effing dark.
Mm.
I never went to that depth of darkness of a place in my life. Like, I just my body, my soul, my emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever bodies, like how many layers the bodies is, just shaking. It was the first time I met my shadow self that I never got to know. It's the first time that I met, I think, divine energy. It's the first time that I really grapple with my existential pain and restless source of restlessness. It's the first time that I acknowledge how much pain and coping mechanism I've been comfortable with, given all the trauma that I experienced as a child and growing up in Indonesia. It's the first time that the first time at that time really acknowledged that universe or God or divine energy exists. Because I grew up in a very religious, conservative family, went to Islamic school for 15 years, was very religious and conservative, and then became so disillusioned by it, and then became like almost agnostic
Mm.
for five. So for 8 years, I was agnostic. I didn't really believe in religion anymore. That was also the tipping point. After the meditation retreat, I told my parents I don't believe in organized religion. It was creating drama. But then I came back to spirituality because of this retreat.
Mhm.
That's the first time I started believing again and having faith in power bigger than me because I was like, what the hell? Like, what? So you can't just control everything with your mind anymore? Like, you can't just like think through it. You kind of have to feel through it and then just like flow with things. And I remember the book that we have to read before the retreat was The Surrender Experiment by
Mm.
Peter Singer. Was it Peter Singer? The one who authored The
Inner peace.
Untethered Soul.
Yeah,
The
untethered
Untethered
soul
Soul.
connected to
Yeah.
inner peace. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, what the fuck is this? There is no such thing as surrender. Like, but even though I grew up learning about what surrender in the Islamic theology is called tawakal, right? Like you ikhtiyar, you do the effort, and then you surrender to God. You let go. But it was just hard to wrap that around my head. But that's the first time I was completely surrendering to something that I couldn't control because the plant medicine went through your body for like 9 hours, and I just couldn't unsee and control what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
including I couldn't even ignore what I feel in my body because it was just stored energy for 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been holding this pain and coping mechanism and stored emotion for like 30 years. Can you imagine? Like even for 1 year, I mean, for me now that I do this almost like every month, like for 1 month, if I feel restless, I could I need to release this, either cry or scream or breath work, whatever it is. Like imagine 30 years of that in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like unpacking and disambling and deconstructing every single emotion that I've been suppressing in my life.
Did you do
And
multiple ceremonies that week?
I did 3 ceremonies. Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
intense.
It was very intense. I did not even know what ceremony was. I was just like, sign me up, baby, and fuck. But I realize now, and I now that I'm into astrology, like I'm born with moon in Aries. Aries is about courage, pioneer, warrior. Like I know I'm a warrior, and I also
Mm-hmm.
learned martial arts growing up. And for me, something that is new and like something new, something unknown is actually more exciting. I'm like, let me try. Like I'm always the first one in the family also to
Mm-hmm.
do things and did breakthrough. And I think now that I've studied my generational ancestors, it's coming from my dad lineage and my mom. I think both of them has strong masculine energy in the bloodline. My dad is also the first one in the family to have gone through college, to have done a master's. Like I follow his path basically. I really inherited that warrior energy, and he's more spiritual warrior. And I also feel like I have spiritual warrior energy within me, but I think it's also manifesting externally to do
Yeah,
other things outside of the spirituality, like the manifestation of physical world, right?
yeah.
And I think now that come back to astrology again, I have like so many earth signs like Capricorn and Taurus, like very earthy, very grounded. So no matter how far I've traveled up to the sky, like no matter how airy headed I am and super woo I could be, I'm still grounded in this earth. And then knowing that I still live an embodied experience and a human. And that's the journey that I needed to grapple with since then, 2019. Like, how do I live and stay within my body? Because it's always in my head only.
Yeah. Can I ask this question as a reflection now that you've done many ayahuasca ceremonies, right?
I mean, yeah, it's not just ayahuasca. I've done
All kinds of plants.
psilocybin, mescaline, like MDMA, like you name it, but every single substance that I
You
could.
did something in Bali also with is it kambo? Is that called
Yeah,
kambo?
combo. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
this toad. It's a toad. It's like basically from frog to
Frogs, yeah.
clear. It's
Yes.
a toad venom that is. So basically, I don't know if any one of you has watched Dune, like when the Reverend Mother, the Ben Gesserit, the cult sisters drink the potion, and they have to metabolize the potion to stay alive. Right? For me, I feel like I went through all this journey of metabolizing quote unquote potion and poison, not potion,
Poison, yes.
poison, and then staying alive
To
and then get
clean yourself.
to clean and then extract a power that I
Yeah.
never knew I had. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is very interesting because we knew and raised with the concept of surrender,
Hmm.
tawakal,
Yeah.
coming both from the culture and also religion. Both of us were raised in Islamic religion, right? And yet, it's very interesting, even though you don't realize it, but you choose to do it when you were in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
right? Even though you didn't know what was this ceremony or plant
Yeah.
medicine is
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that was the first time you experienced it. Why do you think that is, Jordan? Why is it very difficult to, for us or for you specifically, to embody the surrender,
Hmm.
even when it's been taught to us and we raise with this?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the way our educational system, not just in Indonesia, I noticed and witnessed this as well around the world. I mean, our legacy system education in general, even the most advanced one, is based on industrial revolution, 1800 model of unit of productions and output, right? It's a mass market model where every individual is treated as similar and the same, but we all unique, authentic souls. And that's number one. Number two is that like because of that system, there is no room for us to experience things the way we want to experience it
Mm.
ourselves individually. So growing up in that system is just a concept. It's a very
A mental
abstract,
concept.
yeah, it's a mental abstract concept to ponder and reflect in the brain, which I understand that conceptually, intellectually, I understand what surrender is, let go. But to let go emotionally and experientially is a different thing. It's to really to not resist and to allow things that even things that are uncomfortable happen to you, you have to let go, right? And that's a very human thing, to resist something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So to practice surrender, it's never been part of our experience growing up or educational system or
It's not the
curriculum growing.
practice, but it's the concept.
No, it's the concept, right? So it was really hard for me to really embody surrender and then later force in that 1 week to surrender, to apply the very freaking concept that I learned for, I don't know, maybe 20 years, right? And it's circulated among our sort of society as surrender, surrender, tawakal, tawakal, like, but how? Like, especially if I grew up also with my brain super powerful. I think I'm grateful. I'm privileged to have born with like certain intellectual capacity that I can think through things and
Quickly.
like quickly and then like get things done and then impress people. Like, why would I want to surrender? I will find a way to not surrender.
Yeah.
But God and you divine and the universe has its own ways to finally still, like bring you down and humble you and make you surrender, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
I
very
think
difficult to surrender when we are not allowed to feel our emotions.
yes, and also I think because it's so hard because surrender means you have to feel, yeah, you're right, you have to
Mhm.
feel everything that is caused by things that you probably do not like and cannot control,
Mhm.
and it will create a many range of emotions, and when you don't feel safe to feel these emotions, you come back to the automated sort of um, axiomatic response of your self, not just body, to cover yourself again, and then like go back to the brain, and then like, now I don't want to surrender. This is too uncomfortable. Let me find another way to avoid this feeling,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I think because yeah, I didn't feel safe. I mean, who feels safe growing up in Indonesia to feel their emotion, especially men? I mean, men are told and raised in a way that like we cannot feel. I mean, we have to think. I mean, it's always in the society narrative and even the familiar pedagogy that boys don't cry, right?
Yeah.
Because we are taught to be the holder of the family unit, society, and then maybe nation building too. And it's just not what it is. If you study indigenous cultures, like it's always equal, right? Even in the reform of the Islamic theology that the Prophet came to, he was assigned to sort of like reform the society to make equal role between men and women. And he's a very gentle person, and he's allowed to feel. He cries. But I don't know. Along the way, I think there is
Mhm.
some generational trauma that created our ancestors to not feel and then to just survive. Because I think to feel is you will probably you snooze, you lose kind of moments. When you feel, then you will be vulnerable and prone to attack from outsiders or from whatever that's happening around you. And I feel like maybe because of the world was designed the last 200, 300 years of colonialism, extractions, and suppressions and oppression. So feeling is not an option. But
Mhm.
you have to survive, right? And you have to do things to survive and then use your mind to navigate a conflict or war or colonialism or oppression.
Yeah.
And I think that's
We
where it's
never
rooted from.
really we never really came out from the surviving
Yeah,
mindset
yeah,
until
yeah.
today.
No,
Even
not
when
even
we
today.
can, but we choose not to, or we are
Right.
unconsciously choosing not to.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even until in the Western society today, like you will see there is this in the indigenous culture, they call it wetiko, this like this disease of wanting more and more and more and greed as well. It's like it's like capitalism taken to the extreme, right? There's no room for rest, there's no room for compassion, there's no room for empathy, there's no room for others to equally prosper with you. It's this disease of us surviving always, needing to always survive, right? And it's a disease. And I think at that time I was in that disease as well of like wanting more and more and more because I never get, I think, as well, what I really wanted and deserve, right? And this feeling of unconditional love, feeling of just like safety and security, feeling of being myself and belonging. Since I was a kid, I never felt like I belong in the country. Like
Right.
I was 6 years old and I told my dad I want to study in Singapore. Like, why would I 6 years old say that? Like, maybe he was genius or maybe he was exposed. I never been to Singapore. I mean, I just saw in TV and then think I'm just like I want to go. I don't want to be in this country. I don't want to
Right.
be even in this school. Like that young child being able to say that must have come from somewhere. Maybe it's her soul perspective, there's something behind the scene, but in the metaphysical world, that is just like unthinkable. There must be reasons why I want to leave, right? And it comes back to the trauma and all that stuff that I experienced as a child. Yeah.
I think one of the things that Trailblazer often has as they grew up is I need to go elsewhere to restart again somehow. This since very, very young. Like I had the same. It's like I need to get out of here because it's too much work to change the system here. That was not the
Mm.
exact words I was using, but it was
Right.
about I need a bit more space.
Mm.
So much so to the degree that in a space where I am actually weird there. So then people will leave me alone because, anyways,
Mm.
they will let me be me because I'm weird. So they don't even want to touch my
Yeah.
boundaries, it's because
Right.
it's completely out there. So to that degree, I need to go to a place where it's actually embraced to be different.
Yeah.
And then I end
Yeah.
up in Switzerland for the past 24 years, right? I mean,
Mm.
I am not typical Swiss, obviously, but the Swiss as a one of their values is to to respect privacy. And they
Uh-huh.
look at me, they will not expect me to be completely Swiss either, right? So, but
Mhm.
it started when I was younger that I have to find a place. I didn't ask for Switzerland. I'm just asking the universe, take me where I need to be to
Mm.
embrace in a space that is the safest and most nourishing for me to go through whatever it is that I have to go through. And I
Mm.
landed here
Mm.
and I've been here.
Yeah.
Like you move to different places for with a lot of reasons, right? There's a
Yeah.
calling to go there. So
Yeah.
that's also very interesting. But it's a trailblazer kind of model.
Yeah. Trailblazer means to uh, walk a path that haven't been walked
Yeah.
before, right?
You open up a trail.
Yeah. And I think what I did in my family, I opened up a lot of trails.
Hmm.
Not to be like, oh, cuckoo and self-absorbed, but like I really think I did open a lot of doors for my sisters, for my cousins, for people around me to see what's possible.
Yeah.
And and I think I did it unintentionally, and maybe that's because of my soul journey and what I'm destined here to be. And I don't know. Sometimes I just like look back and I'm like, why did I do that? Like, why did I go there? Why did I do that? Why did I want that? Like, I don't even know that I don't even not know. I didn't realize there's so many wants and desires that I managed and to accomplish, right? And then to have done and to to initiate it and pioneered that I was like, whoa, yeah, I did. And I think, yeah, if I could sort of relate to the concept trailblazing, it's about that. And it's scary. It's because you're doing it alone. I was doing it alone in the first, and I have
Yeah.
no example or role model of what it means to do that.
Yes. And that's the point. That's why you have so much energy.
Yeah,
When we
yeah,
had the conversation, I said, "Ooh, yes,
yeah.
yes. I
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know this energy quite well. Not personalized, but I know that this type of energy quite well."
Yeah.
Okay, so you did the ayahuasca. You did the week in Costa Rica, and then what?
Uh, And then I just went to my existential crisis. That's what I called you. I'm like, help me. How do I get out of here? It's too dark. I stay in the bottom. I just couldn't get up. I was like, oh my God. I think it's almost felt like a burnout.
Mhm,
I don't think I burned out, but I was on the verge of burnout for
mhm,
sure.
mhm.
But my soul, like, knock, knock, knock. Let's just not go to that physical, like, craziness of you've experienced burnout. I've
Yes.
seen my friends who experience burnout. I don't want to go there. And I think I was smart enough to see
Yes.
pattern recognition that my soul just like, nope, switch.
Get
Let's
out,
just
get
like
out.
get out and then find another way to sort of go through this without having to go through burnout.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I talked to you about that, and then like we did the RTT, the
Yeah.
rapid hypnotherapy, and then I did the emotional body code with you in the 6 months later, and then wow, we our journey. I mean, then I
Yeah.
did what else with you? Oh, so many
Many
things.
things.
Past life regression, and then another RTT when I moved to Spain, and then like, we will talk about this later, and then also hypnosis about money. Like, there's
Yes.
so many things that I did with you, and so thanks to you that and even the initiation to do like the first leadership journey that I did as well, for leadership sort of responsibility in the healing space. But to come back to 2019, I think what was helpful was to allow myself to feel everything means to stop
Mhm,
working. So
mhm,
I couldn't work for a month.
mhm.
So that was my sabbatical, my first ever sabbatical that my company was generous with. My boss, I switched my boss. I remember I switched my boss because I knew it's not what I wanted, and then ayahuasca helped me to sort of find crystal clearness in that. Switch the boss, find a new boss. Gave me 1 month sabbatical, and in that 1 month, I did the therapy with you, and then I took a break. I went to Amsterdam, and then just like really experienced what Europe was.
Yeah.
And then this following 4 months, I still remember for that 6 months before COVID, cried every day, just remembering or processing difficult childhood or teenagehood experience that I never allow myself to process, that affect my mental model, that affected my ambition, that affected my way of being as a 30-year-old back then.
Yeah.
That I had to, deconstruct and understand why this is happening. That yeah, it was that 6 months of facing my demon. I mean, I
Mhm,
don't want to call it demon, I guess, my shadow, yeah. It
mhm,
was this other part of me that I never knew I realized I had.
mhm. It's meeting the part of you that you didn't have and also not be freaked out by it.
I tried. I was like, holy shit, I don't know. Like, why do I have this? Yeah, exactly. Not to be afraid of it. I think it was
Mhm.
about integration. Because I think
Yes.
in any peak experience of any transformational experience or retreat or programs, you need integration afterwards
Yeah.
because it's too peak of experience that it's almost shattering and destabilizing and awe inspiring that your body is just incapable of absorbing and disseminating and distributing all the wisdom to the entire self. So you need time to really
Yes.
absorb and integrate all these new lessons that you understand intellectually, but you don't know somatically, body-wise, what does it mean
Embodied. Yeah. Yeah.
to embody and live this knowledge that you just learned.
Yes. This is this is also something that I personally experienced many years ago, right? Because like you and I mean, I'm very similar like you. When I have a goal, then I just invest and channel my intense energy in there. And I do all the homework being asked of me. And you
Mm.
do too, you did too. And you're still
Yeah,
doing it, right? Like we
yeah,
both are like, okay, I'm committed to this. And we don't necessarily have, as you said, we don't necessarily have anyone in front of us, really, right? Like we are figuring things out as we do it. And that's
yeah,
the unique, that's the, in a way, there's everybody's transformed. But I think when you took on something like an experience like trailblazing, you needed so much more time to put things together because as you are experiencing it, you not always have the time, the energy, nor even the bandwidth to actually connect the dots. But at some point, as trailblazer, you will have to connect the dots because
Hmm.
then you synthesize things or you clarify it. Okay, what is actually happening? And then you do this, right? So the challenge for a lot of trailblazer because of the intensity of their energy is that they keep going for a long time, absorbing. And a lot of the time it's stuck here.
Right.
I know what's going on, but has it all landed? Has it all going into the different layers of the energetic bodies? Had the
Yeah.
information being integrated on these levels? And I remember our conversation with my conversation with you about resting when you were in
Hmm.
Bali.
Hmm.
This was huge because you had, by that point, you have gone so much. You've done everything that has been asked of you. And then the next stage was, you need to rest, Jordan. You're like, what the hell does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Remember that?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that a
It
question
took,
about
it
rest?
took,
Like,
it took, I don't know if you remember, it took a lot of subconscious mind reprogramming.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It took me 1 year to finally say I want to rest. Like,
Yes, yes.
uh,
What did you learn
yeah,
about that? What did you learn about that? Because you are dealing, because the most interesting thing about this is that you are dealing with your clients. They're all like fast-paced human beings, right?
right, right,
Mhm.
right, right. Yeah. Oof, that was interesting. So let me just contextualize that
Sure.
realizations and finally a decision to eventually, yes, I'm stopping. Um, so after our engagement, I switched career in the organization that I work for. I
Right.
actually was gonna leave. I was gonna go to Spain, and then COVID happened. They were like, you know what, Jordan, just join us. Like, don't leave yet. Like, there is still another project that you might be interested in. So I joined my boss in people organizational development, and he just told me, hey, why don't you go to a coaching school and then just become a coach? And like, I think you're good with it. And then a lot of my friends, a lot of my colleagues told me I'm good with people. I'm like, really? Like after having an MBA, I should be a coach? Like I had this like derogatory, like condescending attitude of what a coach is. I was like, I don't want to be a coach. Like I'm not, like this ego talk again and like type A. I'm like not like gonna be a coach. But I realized maybe yes, maybe I should try it. So I did, and then I did, and then COVID happened, and suddenly I became an organizational coach for this company for about 6 months. And I was coaching 40, 60 colleagues around the world because our headquarters in Singapore, but we have employees all over the region and including in Europe, in Seoul, in China, in Seattle, in the US. Like I was like, wow, suddenly I've dealing with so many stories and anecdotes about people's problems, life problems that I never really knew existed, that I thought I'm the only one who had. And then my boss told me, hey, your headcount is going to be redundant, and I'm going to be upfront to you. You need to find another role, or you just have to resign. And that's the trigger point that I realized, okay, I'm going to resign. And it was so scary to finally say, I'm resigning and I'm going to rest. Because I remember even when coaching people at that time and also doing another role, which is change management. So I was giving training to 600 managers around the region. It was insane. So every day I will do training, coaching, coaching. So I didn't stop. Like
Mhm.
it was like from morning to evening, I will coach and train until I almost burn out myself. I realized, okay, this is too much.
Yes.
But that was my energy of overachievers, right? And then I still haven't fully landed this idea of rest. And I'm like, okay, like what does it mean to rest? So, and I was forced to stay in Singapore. It was COVID, like it was locked down and all that. But my soul is saying I need to go somewhere else. I cannot be in Singapore. So that's the first time I say, okay, I'm going to Bali, island life, and then maybe trying to really rest. And that was the first time in my life I give myself permission and to also defy all expectations imposed on me about being quote unquote smart, educated guy in the family, man, to keep earning money, to say, no, I'm not going to earn.
Mhm.
I'm actually going to just use my savings for a year that I have fortunately save in Singapore to finance my sabbatical for a year. Not everybody can do it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Deep down, I just like I knew I had to do this, and I did. And in Bali, I also did many retreats, and I received lessons there that I need to rest, that you are here to rest. And it was so hard. It was just like I don't want to, but my body just like said rest, rest. I'm so tired. I sleep a lot. It's crazy. I slept so much, and then I was told that you are here to rest hard. You have worked hard, so you have to rest hard. So it was a very soul crushing moment to be told to rest hard, because it's just hard to wrap it to embody resting, because it's very feminine, right? I think I grew up with so much
Action.
zealous masculine energy of like get things done. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. And to suddenly say, shh, red light, stop, can I go? It was also a little bit like uh, ego shattering, because that's the first time I also felt, who am I without my job, my education, and what I do every day? Am I love unconditionally just being who I am without any titles that I have
Sure.
collected?
Yeah.
Like, will people still respect me? Like, would they think that I'm woo-woo or like crazy and irrational by quitting my job? Because I know I have a lot of friends who back then moved to Bali, but still keeping their job and work from Bali. But I did not.
Yeah.
I have one other friend who did yoga training, and then even him, he was still doing a fractional job in a startup. So I was like, ugh, it was so hard to swallow that sort of change of identity,
Mm-hmm.
to really see myself beyond the external mask that I put myself around with, and to see my true value and essence, and realize I am a spiritual being and in a human body. That was hard, because I thought that I'm just a human being with a spiritual inclination.
Mm.
Like I'm longing for spiritual connection, or like something that is beyond the physical world. But actually, no, I come from the spiritual world in the physical mission, I guess. I think we all here for a mission. That's what I believe now, that we all born for a certain type of particular mission or purpose, but we just don't remember,
Yeah.
because we were born into a society, into a school, so to friend group, to family that told us who we should be,
Yeah.
as opposed to who we are here for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we a lo- what most people don't realize, including myself for many, many years. Actually, it was obvious, but it wasn't for me as the trailblazer energy, is that you transform when you sleep too.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, because your body, there are many, from the standpoint of energetic bodies, there are many layers of energetic bodies in which all the reprogramming that you you want needs to actually be integrated in the different levels. And that it's almost like you, when you sleep, then the whole system can work. It's detoxing many things, and it's
Mhm.
activating or integrating so many more other things. And it took me so long to understand that. As soon as I understood that, and I'm like, of course I will sleep. And I'm going to enjoy it because
Yeah,
I'm growing in my sleep. But that's the lingo that go-getters, the alphas, the trailblazer feel comfortable, right? What the point is, just look for an angle. Look for an angle and just see it for what it is through that angle. And then it becomes easier.
yeah. I think you know what, but like that I realized as well. I mean, later I discovered, I mean, from a human design perspective, it's that I'm a projector, so I need a lot of sleep to be productive, and I
Mhm.
just work better when I sleep more. And I never realized that until I knew that who I was, because for 30 plus years, even though I'm a trailblazer, I always managed to find a nap time in between. Even in the office, I will go to a toilet and then sleep inside, or find a corner of a
That's so
sofa
cool.
and then put a hoodie and then sleep. Because I didn't honor that body's need, and I just like, no, I need to keep going. But now, the more I respect that physical need to sleep, the more I become more effective in what I do.
Mhm.
And of course, externally, perceptually, people see, oh, you're not accomplishing that much. But also because I don't freaking care about what people want me to do anymore. But second is that like no, you don't know what's happening inside me that I knew is such a huge insights and transformations about what I can do and I'm capable more of, especially being a coach, guiding and holding space for big energy as well to
Mhm.
transform or like to achieve certain leadership goals, right? Those things are not easily done by just like doing. You have to do a lot of being. And I think for me is to integrate and embody this being energy to just like, all right, I'm gonna rest and then like honor my body to just like not do anything. It was hard. It was really hard. It was soul crushing to do it for the first time. But now I'm like unapologetically, nope.
I need to
It's time
rest.
for rest. I need to
Yes.
rest, block my calendar, deal with me later, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. If you are still with us until this point of this conversation, please remember to give this episode a like right now and also subscribe to this channel. Let's continue. Jourdan, you have had many rebirths in this past 5-6 years that we knew each other, right?
Yes.
Is there one that holds such a paramount importance for you specifically?
Oof. Yes. I think it's my is it only one or
Let's start. If you want to say a couple because they're connected, feel free to do it.
yeah, I
Sure.
think they are connected. Not necessarily entirely connected, but they are correlated, right?
Okay.
First is the transformation of being my authentic self, which is I'm a multi-layered, complex human being, and to acknowledge that as a face value and really holistically accept all parts of myself is a game changer for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's break it down like multi-layered, like Indonesians, global. I live in so many countries. I don't think I'm purely Indonesian, nor that I'm purely any other country that I have lived in, right? I grew up Muslim, but I don't really believe in the organized doctrine that they teach in many countries right now. I'm spiritual. I am LGBT, and I look like a little bit like masculine to so many people. I still practice religion. I was in a corporate. I'm woo woo, but I'm also very grounded. Like there's so many layers of me that I start to embrace that not mutually exclusive, that they don't cancel each other's out. Like I'm so complex that like part of me is very rational, part of me is very irrational. I mean, we all irrational anyway, but part of me is very maybe non-rational, right? I don't want to call myself irrational. I think non-rational. I think rational come from the word logic, right? I mean, I don't even know the etymology, but it comes from a place of evidence and reasons and logic. But there are many things in life that you cannot explain with evidence and logic. Science is about the pursuit and progress and research discovery of finding something that can be proven with data. It's just that many spiritual phenomena do not have data yet, right? Because there's not interest, there's enough money to actually pursue that phenomenon. So for me to embody all of that is life changing, right? That, oh wow, like I'm authentic that way. Now, from that particular fountain of complexity of identity that is fully authentic mine, authentically me, comes this transformation of work identity, right? That I'm no longer a corporate guy, that I thought I was this corporate person that I would build my career in or like find my leadership path there and climbing the ladder, proving myself that I am capable of navigating this complexity of organizational politics. I was in the president's office too. I built my career in government, so I'm familiar with the political power and dynamics. But now I step outside and then become the shepherd of that to people. And the other one is that like I'm an LGBT person that now live in Spain, but maybe not here anymore. I don't know. And that gave me that flexibility of and permission to keep changing as well, right? I don't think I'm a constant. And I think that transformation of mindset about I'm not fixated in one stage of box that I'm fixed in is liberating and game changing. And the other part is this identity of being a son of a religious conservative family that's still me, but still their son, my parents' child, right? Or my sibling's brother, my cousin's cousin, right? And that identity is it's a transformative in a way that like the past 5 to 6 years, I really took my time to reorganize my constellation of people and to reset my boundaries of who I can be and who I cannot be, and what I can do and what I cannot do, what I can give and what I cannot give, and what I want to receive because I'm a giver. It's hard for me to receive, so I'm learning to receive. So that's a huge transformation for me. And even in this journey of transforming myself, it hurt a lot of people. It disappointed a lot of people because they have expectations and ideas of who I was and who I should be and who I should have become.
Yeah.
But I chose differently and I said, no, this is not me. This is your projection of who I need to be. So there is guilt there, but I learned to forgive myself and forgive the other people who impose and project their expectations on me. So that's transformation for me, right? Transformation is basically unlearning. This is again a book that I was going to write, and relearning who and remembering who I was and who I wanted to be. Because I knew since I was a child, I know like this is my creative child, a pure soul that I learned to fit into a society that cannot see things beyond just black and white, right? Like thing that is binary, right? And this complexity of identity is transformative for me and so many people in my life because of this process. And I have now restarted and rebooted my relationships with so many people that I love in my life, including my parents, right? Either they got transformed by my stories because they just got, I don't know if whether they inspire or they got triggered, they feel my energy is different. I pull many people into my, I don't know, you probably have a lot of referral from me as well, right?
Yes.
And my friends went through a lot of this transformation themselves. And my parents, I mean, can you imagine like a very conservative Muslim family having a gay son, right? Like that was hard for them, but they still choose to love me.
Yeah.
They still choose to accept me with some conditions, right? But I choose to forgive and then accept them as they are. Because back then I remember with you, I'm like, how do I change my parents? This is so hard. Da, da, da. I want to run away. I did run away, but I still maintain connections, right? And I think Gabriel Mate said you, as an adult, you want to maintain both things, authenticity and connections, but never lose your connection to self, which means you have to maintain your authenticity. So in this journey of transformations, I learned to how do I say it? Like to play with the dynamics of maintaining authenticity and connection with myself and with people that I want to maintain my connection with without sacrificing my authenticity, including my parents, which included maybe 2 years of Cold War with them. I didn't talk with them. And then that taught them a lessons about like, hey, you can lose your child if you choose to be stubborn about what you believe in, you know? And in that tussling, in that negotiation comes a different kind of love, you know, and a different kind of relating, and a different kind of, I think unconditional love of seeing people who as they are, as opposed to we think who they should be in our head, which come from again conditioning. Like parents should be this, child should be that. No, we're just souls, like learning to walk each other's home, right? I think we all going to the same place, back to the land of creation of our soul. Like I don't know where that is. We don't have a 3D evidence, but I do know it exists, right? And we're teaching and co-teaching and mutually teaching each other's lessons. And when from that moment of me stepping aside and detaching myself from that father and son, mother and sons, siblings, friends, relationships, I start realizing, wow, like my soul journey definitely imprinted something in theirs that they also sign up for to learn from that from me, you know? And I know I went through a lot of pain for me to also choose these lessons. I'm like, why did I choose? Maybe in my past life I did something bad. I don't know, like jokingly speaking, right? But in a serious note, I was like, wow, there must be a reasons why I'm born in this family. There must be a reasons why I'm born in this country. There must be reasons why I choose to live and have lived in so many countries. There must be a reason, right? You can call it, you know, a human's way to make meaning out of pain, also it is serving a functional purpose,
Mhm.
right? And I think as a trailblazer, as you said, I carry a lot of privilege, not from the results of what I have been able to achieve from my trailblazing capacity, but also just from the wisdom that I have embodied from having gone through so many rebirth and transformations and initiation that I walk the past 6 years that hopefully one day become a wisdom for other people as well, right? And also right now, as we speak, it becomes the reservoir of strength and insights and wisdom from my clients to tap into. Because without me having walked this path, I don't even know how I can do my work on a day-to-day basis,
Sure.
right? So I think that's so it's a long answer to a very short
No,
question.
it's
Yeah,
wonderful because this is
yeah,
the other thing, right? Like authenticity is allowing limitless amount of love, unconditional love to come in. I think by definition in my mind, but I say it anyways. Love, if it's you were talking about love, is always unconditional.
mm,
But because we have been growing up with love that is conditional, so I have
yeah,
to use that word. But I think by definition, love is unconditional. So I think authenticity is love, is allowing love to come in, to flood in our energetic system, but also collective energetic systems. It's your family, your system, the country, the culture, whatever, whatever. And the journey, though, to break down the
hmm,
dams, the walls that didn't allow the love to come in was painful. What
yeah,
you experienced 2 years of not being in touch with your family, it was painful. And I know how close you would like to, and you are still, and you will be with your
yeah,
family. But in that path of your transformation, you were very brave enough to say, I'm committed to this. I'm in pain, but I'm trusting that this was going to bring good things. And that's what I'm hoping you can feel now, not only through your,
yeah,
but also in your connection with others, including your family, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I think, oh, the amount of tears and hard conversation that I had to have with my parents, with people that I work with my siblings. I think the first people that will be impacted by your healing is definitely your family. They can
Yeah,
feel it, right?
for sure.
Who is this child? Like, I did not raise the child to be like this.
Yeah.
Suddenly, this child has a soul that chooses its own path, and then, like, boom, bye, you know?
Yes.
And that caused a lot of friction, a lot of hurt, a lot of, ugh, so many hospitalizations from my mom. But she persisted, and because I think she signed up for this, like, she didn't want
Yes.
to die, you know?
Yes.
Like,
And
some
I think
souls choose to die because they're just, this is too much. But, like, no, she
absolutely.
persisted.
And I remember you also have physical problems in
Yes,
in this journey because it was
yes,
so intense. Yet you say, okay, yes, it was part of the process. Of course, it was part of the process, right? Like, and the good thing about you, and I honor you for this, is like I'm going to persist in this. I'm
yeah,
going to persist because I'm choosing love and I'm choosing authenticity. That's it, right? And that
yes,
was, and it gave you so much focus, but it
yeah,
also showed that you are very brave because some people would
yeah.
have stopped at some point.
No, yeah, yeah, I know. I don't know. I think that's my gift from the uni. It's a gift from the universe for me that like I'm very brave and courageous to have done what I have done. I think that also opened the door for my siblings to do and to express what they feel about our family dynamics, about our parents, about, and it humbles my parents now
Yeah,
so much that like, oh wow, like we didn't know our children are capable of this, but it created a different level of repair. I think in
yeah.
Western therapy, I saw in Instagram, Western therapy, it over teaches you boundaries and individualization, right?
It's about cutting,
But
cutting, cutting.
cutting.
Yeah,
But in
in the East.
indigenous in the East in indigenous therapy, I mean, I know it's not polarity, but it should be a spectrum of no, you have to teach them repair because
Yeah,
we survive in connection to other people.
yeah,
And in that 2 years of me not talking to my biological parents, I found other parents in my life, right? I also maintain a connection with my siblings indirect, to my parents as well, right? Even though I gave them, it was a Cold War. Like imagine like Soviet in the US, it was me like with the Soviet. Like I want freedom, they don't want freedom, right? Like there is that uh, spectrum zone of possible agreements in negotiation, right? ZOPA, they call it. In this zone of possible agreements, we dilate one or to the other, right?
Yeah.
And we express so many things that has never been expressed, including rage, anger, disappointment, sadness, right? Including to my dad, who now is so used to saying sorry and to say I love you and to
That's
say darling
amazing.
to me. And I never taught him that. Like,
Yeah.
but I teach him that a little bit. I mean, I told him I love you, even though I don't like this. Let's say I set a boundaries and I still say I love you.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean I have to sacrifice myself. So I teach them that. And then they teach me gentleness and flexibility. They change, right? And in that process, they also respect me, right? And I think one joke aside, one joke a little bit to be put here, I think they can do that because I think they respect me. How the hell this person can still manage to live an authentic life, but still make money, you know, like survive in another country, right? I think without that, they will not be able to respect me. But I think the universe gave me that power as well. And I think I remember I went to a psychologist one day. I did an IQ and EQ test. It's just like out of fun. And he told me, and he's a professor. He has 4 PhD, and he even told me this even 4 PhD is my trauma response to my childhood trauma. He's like a grandpa, and he told me, "Look, Jordan, when you heal yourself, you become so authentic that your risk or your bountiness, your abundance will start coming to you without you even thinking about it."
Mm-hmm.
And I trusted that. And I also just walk in this path of authenticity, trusting and knowing that I'll be taken care of. And it's true. I haven't been hungry or poor because of my authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe because it is also because, I mean, some people can argue that, oh, because you have a good education, da, da, da. Yeah, but people have gone through their own authentic, unique, individual, unique self for a reason, right? There will be a way when one day you'll be able to do the same, right? And I also am committed to this path because I want to show what is possible. Like I did walk the path that is unwalked before, like that is uncharted,
Yeah.
but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Trailblazing is something else.
yeah,
It is something else. And it doesn't mean to say that it's better or more important. It's not. It's just unique process because you are opening up fields or you're going to uncharted territory. You've never
yes,
been there, but you're driven by something that something tells you it's good to go there. And
yeah,
it's not something that you can comprehend because usually you've never been there before. That's why you're a trailblazer, right?
yeah, yeah,
So it's a different type of energy that requires a lot of processing, let's say, in order not to create too much havoc
yeah,
because it's very, very strong. Um, Growing always comes with grief. Would you agree with this?
yes. I
What,
completely agree.
right. What is your biggest lesson that you could share with others about dealing with the grief because you grow or choose to
Oof.
grow?
Well, I remember when before this transformation happened, I already saw my friend at my age at that time, 28, 29, dealing with cancer. And I remember that was 2018, and that's when Sheryl Sandberg lost her husband and wrote a book, Option B.
Mhm.
Theoretically, I understand, oh, in grief, there is a 6 stages of grief, right? Denial, anger, negotiation, sadness, and then eventually it's acceptance. And they say it's non-linear. It's true. One day you accept, and then you come back to anger and sadness, right? What I want to share with people going through transformation or going through healing is that you will definitely be friends with grief. You'll be very close friends with grief. And that means you have to be comfortable with all the feelings that grief gives you, which is anger, sadness, and um, surrendering, acceptance. Acceptance is basically surrendering, right? But the two big things that I never was comfortable with were anger and sadness.
Mm.
Denial. I think I'm used to it. I've been in denial for 30 years of not coming out of the closet, right? So I'm comfortable with denial, but like anger and sadness, it's a different animal.
Mhm.
Especially for men that are never allowed to cry or feel sad and then use sadness for something else. There's a lot of sadness in this 6 years. Even until today, I still feel occasional sadness about what could have been, what should be, what happened, right? And when I choose this path of walking a path that people haven't walked before, there's always this like doubt, self-doubt moment. Is this the right path? Like, could I just be, maybe I can just come back to the closet and marry a woman and have children, right? Like, or life will be having so easy for me. Like, do I want to live in Spain? Like, should I go back to Indonesia and just like do what everybody wants me to do? And that is, and also like, oh, people around me are growing with their children and family. Like, that's sad. Anger is like, why the hell people do not know and understand what I'm going through? Like, anger about people not respecting boundaries, anger about what I have to deal with my parents when I told them my authenticity, right? What else? Sadness of losing people that do not vibe anymore with me because they realize I've changed and they don't like the change that I have become and embodied, right? And the grief of um, realizing, oh, I should have received what I deserved growing up, but I didn't.
Mhm.
And I have to learn to reparent myself and give what I deserve when I was a child.
Mhm.
And then dealing with the same person who should have it given to me, which are my parents, and knowing wisely that they will no longer be and are capable of giving what I would have wanted to receive, which is the small T trauma, right? Because
Mhm.
trauma is like big T trauma is like what bad things that happen to you and good things that didn't happen to you. And I think one of the biggest grief that I have been wrestling with is grieving the small T trauma. Because I know because it's not out of their intention to not give what I wanted and I have deserved. It's because they didn't know any better.
Mhm.
And that took me years of accepting because I was in denial. I was like, what the fuck? No, they're older. They're my parents. They should have known better. They choose to have me, blah, blah, blah. And then spiritually, no,
No.
boy, you choose this family for a reason. Like, there is no way you like, oh, I didn't choose to be born in this family. It's a very Western concept of like, oh, I didn't choose to be born in this family, so I can cut everyone off because I deserve better. No, 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 no. There is a reasons why you choose this family,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That's the
Because your
golden
parents also
potential gold mine. Yes.
exactly, because your parents also didn't choose to be born in their family, and then they didn't choose to have you. Like they choose you maybe out of lack of consciousness as well. And is that their fault that they didn't know any better? Like, would you punish someone for something that they didn't know,
Mm.
right? And that is a huge grief because as a human being in a physical body, you still sad and because you're still the child,
Yeah.
you're not the parent, right? You're still the vulnerable being in that family unit. And for me to really accept that fully it's a grieving process. And now to a point where I'm like, you know what? They're just like another child. Like sometimes now I realize I think I'm more privileged and knowledgeable and lucky than who they were. And in all my plant medicine ceremony, in all my therapy, I increasingly realize and I increasingly access connection to my ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I met many of my ancestors who I never met before energetically, and then they talk to me, and then they realize your parents did better than us.
Mm-hmm.
So give them grace, forgive them, and respect them because they did the best that they could. So that plant a seed of me of respect to my parents as well as boundaries, right? So now this newfound sense of love and forgiveness and respect come from a place of self-love because now that I did the best I could and I deserve for the past 5, 6 years, I can extend this to my parents. Without that, I don't think I could do it. Like I was still in a victim mindset. Now that I get out of the victim mindset and to a creation mindset, I realize, I actually want to reconnect with my parents. And I
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm.
And I still maintain boundaries as well. If it's too much, I'm like, no, this is too much. Please respect me.
Mm-hmm.
And they start respecting me as well. And I think that a more mature relating and relational dynamics is what I'm grateful for.
Mhm.
And I actually feel sad now. There's another grief that like, oh, this could have been easier back then, but why does it only happen now when I'm older?
Yeah.
Right? There is this increasing level of potential sadness. Like I only have maybe 15 years or 20 years max of living with them,
Mhm.
but I choose to live here.
Yeah.
And then they say like the amount of time you spend with your parents is going to be decreasing as you get older, right? Like, and I'm realizing like, is that what a life I want to live, right? So like with this transformation comes a different um, level of realizations and conclusion as well in my head and my body as well about
Yeah.
what I want. Because I know in the end, it's not about achievements. It's not about walking your purpose. It's all about going back home.
Yeah.
And I choose to be born in this family to probably walk back home with them or walk them home first or they walk me first. I don't know who's going to die first. I mean,
Yeah,
transition
sure.
to the others. Yeah, we don't know.
You don't
But
know. Okay.
that is the predicament of human existence, right? And I think I'm learning to wrestle with that and try my best to optimize the time that we have now to learn our soul lessons before we fully part away from each other. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely, it really is very beautiful what you're just sharing, and profound lessons about grief and grow. And also, people, we all have different focus as we walk, as we have different life cycles, right? And a lot of the times we are dictated by how it should be for the norms. Like
Mhm.
you stop working when you're 64 before,
Yeah.
you know, but this doesn't work because as you say, I don't know how long your parents is going to be
A
around,
lot. Yeah.
right? You don't know how long more you're going to be around. So if in your mid 30s you decided that actually, you know what, love for my parents or connecting deeply with them is much more important, then that's the right time for you. And for other
Mhm.
people, it's in their 40s. In my case, both my parents died by the age of 43. I was 43 when both of them passed away.
Mhm.
So, I had them relatively short compared to some other friends of mine that have
Right.
them for until my friends are like 50, 60, 70, whatever. Um, but because of that, we have to make a decision, right? Like,
Yeah.
and only us know it. And how do you know it? When you're connected with your soul. That's how you know
Mhm.
it. Because
Mhm.
the soul will tell you, not in the direct way, but it will give you an inspiration, an inspired action to take. And you just have to trust it
Mhm.
because this is your path.
Yeah.
I love what you're just sharing now, that you are evaluating so many things. Yes, it's a natural consequence of embedding your authenticity because now you kind of connected to some informations that specifically unique to you,
Yeah.
right? And you have left the norm that of 9 to 5, 9 to 5, this
Yeah.
is questionable,
Yeah.
and you need to work until 64 and then you retire. No, you have
Yeah.
left that a few years ago. So you have a
Right.
lot more room now to
Yes.
decide whichever way you want to live. And
Yes.
of course, there are grief that comes with that, but you know, you learn all the time how to deal with this
Yeah.
better and better, right?
Yeah.
I remember, Jordan, in 2019, after you did your Costa Rica leadership retreat, you have a vision that you set for
Uh-huh.
yourself. I
Yeah.
remember creating a recording of this vision, 2019 vision of
Oh my
what you
God.
want to embody, because I created a recording for you to listen to. Where are you now in connection to this vision
Oh my God.
today?
Oh my God. Now you know my body. Even until 2021, before I start another recording with you, right? That's another level of embodying my authentic self in Spain. I still listen to your hypnosis
Yes,
before I sleep or during my siesta, during my nap.
yes.
Like, oh, I need to listen to this to just comfort and soothe my soul. Can you remind me about like what you actually do you remember? I can tell you up front right off the bat like what I now can take. But I think you can help me as well in like in reminding maybe I missed something. But definitely, now that was 6 years ago, right? 5.5 years ago. I fully feel at peace with myself. I think I am fully authentically in my body. Like I can feel all my senses, all my gut reactions, all my intuitions. I mean, sometimes I'm confused. Is this intuition or is this past trauma?
Yes.
Like, I need to meditate with that, or sometimes I need to do another ceremony to understand what is my soul telling me or my inner instinct telling me. But I think I have increasing ability to access and tap into it. And then I feel abundant. Like I definitely feel way more abundant than I thought I was. I remember I was telling you, "Oh, I am so poor." Like even though I have like so much savings, I'm like,
Yes.
"Why am I so poor?" But now living in this abundance lifestyle, like I no longer worry about money. I mean, every now and then I'll be like, "Oh, do I have enough?" And then my mind will like switch to like
Sure.
being fear-based mindset. But like then I like no, no. And then money still keeps coming, and then clients still keeps coming, and then projects and work always there for me. And then I feel I can embody this sense of freedom and safety that I never really felt before. And I think it's a combination of both inner work and external environment that I choose to, because then I've now been living in Spain almost about 4 years. And this country, I learned so much to be my fully authentic, free self, expressive self as well. I no longer feel, I went back to Asia many times. I mean, I don't feel unsafe anymore. I mean, yes, I had to hide or like cover myself or like adjust my behaviors or look or bend my body a little bit and contort my body to like look certain way that society wants me to do. But it doesn't bother me anymore.
Mhm.
And this is why I feel like I feel an increasing sense of maybe I could come back to Asia with this newfound freedom and safety and liberty and authenticity, because their country and the region probably doesn't allow, in a collective level, allow individuals stuff like me to go through that
Yeah.
in their system.
Yeah.
So I need to go to the other system to feel that and recalibrate and readjust and reboot it, my own internal operating system.
Yeah.
And that's where I am right now. And
I
I
have
don't,
two more words. Justice.
yes.
You use the word
Ah,
justice.
yeah, justice.
And
Yes,
I
yes.
would like to say, even underdogs, you even use these words
I
then.
did. Oh,
You
wow.
did. I'm pretty sure you did. If it's not specifically that, but something, some people that are treated didn't have voice, or some people that
Yeah.
this was big. For me, that's what I remember the most.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, you're right on point. So, speaking of which, I have an Instagram account and a website on Wise Underdogs. So, for those of you who want to check it out, it's going to be my, I think, long-term passion, non-for-profit project about creating safe space for marginalized people like me, people who've been suppressed and oppressed and stigmatized for who they are, and then they need to fit in, and as opposed to just belong and be authentic, their authentic self. So it's a space for, yeah, like people of color, LGBT people, women in many settings, right? Immigrants, maybe also neurally divergent people, um, refugees, like anyone that feels like they don't belong to where in where they are, whatever they are right now, can find voices and safety. And right now, I'm also incubating a startup idea with another friend of creating leadership transformations ventures, with the help of or without the help of AI, artificial intelligence, and hopefully we'll find a way to fund that non-profit Wise Underdogs project as well in the future. The idea is to create like, X-Men the movie, like Professor Javier. I want to be the hot gay version of Professor X, not on a wheelchair, which like X-Men schools, um, and transmuting these mutants, right, to become their most authentic, powerful self, so they can contribute to society. I think because the caveat and the danger of people who've been marginalized and oppressed is that they become victimized. they stay in the victim mindset, they stay in the self-sabotaging mindset and paradigm and perspective, and they are stuck. And my wish and my commitment is that as I build these new ventures that hopefully become, like abundant revenue generating machines can help fund this non-for-profit to exist and to strive and sustain. And that will require a lot of collaborations with so many stakeholders. And yes, I'm walking that path, to be honest. I mean, I've started a little bit of that with these Wise Underdogs. I've organized healing retreats for LGBT ones in Costa Rica as well. And that seeded something in me about like what I'm capable of and what I'm destined and meant to do. And now I'm embarking on a leadership journey of creating leadership ventures with AI, with a friend, and with a different level and different consciousness of ambition. I mean, I know I was very ambitious with Trailblazers. Like without ambition, Trailblazers will not exist. But I think the past 5 to 6 years, I healed that relationship with ambition. It was rooted in insecurities and just like, yeah, what else? It was rooted in this idea needing to prove myself. But now I'm like, no, I do not acknowledge that I'm born with this ambition. And how do I use this ambition for something that is bigger than me? That is also done with ease and not burning myself out because I don't want to fall into the same trap of what I did for the first 30 years of my life. Maybe now the next 30 years of my life, from now 36 to 66, is going to be ambitious about humanity,
Yeah.
something that is beyond me for the betterment of humanity and all the sentient beings on this planet using technology. I'm also Aquarius, so it's very innovative, I'm very tech savvy and
You're in the
think
right era
humanity.
now.
Yeah, I know. Pluto and enter Aquarius, this is all my era. Like, this is all my vibe, my energy. Like, it's all about technology, innovation, equality, humanitarian causes, right? It's leaving the age of Capricorn, which is like this age of hierarchy and structures. And I mean, you see now, you're seeing blockchain, cryptocurrency, decentralizations, AI, later AGI, right? And then maybe space travel, and then telepathy, and then quantum computing is all now being incubated. And I
Mhm.
think this is where humanity is going to march towards to. And I do want to participate in in a different level of ambition and with a different amount, hopefully upgraded level of consciousness. I think Aquarian is also all about raising human consciousness. We're
Yeah.
all about the future. We're very airy, right? But I'm also
Mental.
learning to be embodied and
Yes.
grounded. So I want to combine rooted in my roots, right? Rooted in this earth, but also connected to the sky, right? I think that's also what Carl Jung say, like you cannot grow as much as you go deeply into your roots. So I think the past 5, 6 years, and maybe still I am growing that roots down to be able to grow taller and taller. And yeah, let's see what's unfolding. Let's see what's gonna, like reveal itself and
I'm
present to
excited. I'm
everybody.
excited. I remember this 2019 vision.
I know, even what I wrote back then, 80% of what I wrote manifested. Like
Mhm.
living in Spain, doing my own job, creating transformation, living with peace, having a partner who unfortunately I don't live with anymore, but it's another lesson, another podcast that we can
Yes.
record. Like having a relationship with my siblings, traveling, like I've been to many now, maybe 50 plus countries, right? And it's abundance that universe gave me. And I think it's because I also committed to my authentic path. Um, and I think that's I'm very, very grateful for. I always pray to God and to universe in my meditation, like thank you for everything that I have received and I have gone through. I mean, I used to like swear or like be angry about, oh, this happened to me, this happened to me. But actually, that taught me a lot of lessons. And, as you say, you connect the dots, that is there for a reason. And I'm grateful for whatever is given to me. And I'm looking forward to what's next for me as well, right? I think that gave me hope and faith, and I think that's the gift of healing. A lot of people did not heal themselves and stuck in the victimization, and some unfortunately went down to depression and suicidal path. And I hope they can get out of that, and or even autoimmune diseases, right? And I don't know. I'm grateful that my soul chose a different path of like like walking a transformational path that actually gave a newfound sense of optimism.
Mhm. Lovely. Okay, Jourdan, thank you so much for that sharing. I'm excited to see what the next 30 years will unfold for you, what these years will bring you. If you have to choose three words to describe your experiences with the Uplift My Life Today healing space, including
Mm,
me in it,
mm,
what
mhm.
are those three words?
Oh, ah, one is hypnotic. I still listen to your audio recording and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hypnotized. Second is gentle. I think your gentleness really helped me embody um, slowing down and inspire me to also, yeah, just rest. And that gentleness is putting water into my rock. You know, I'm very stubborn, right? And you can see my energy is also very high, and that water energy of gentleness is like soothing me and calming me down. And the third one is elegance. I think what you embody is this elegance of gracefulness. And to a certain extent, that is what I want to embody as well, is that like I don't want to be rugged, you know, like or rigid or like gung ho anymore. I want to be like with style, with gracefulness, with flow, and still passion, you know, like so it will be like this, like I don't know, for lack of a better word, femme fatale energy, like it's deadly, it's slow and beautiful, but deadly, you know, for lack of a better word. And I think that gracefulness is what gave me also a little bit of like space to experience this transformation and healing space with as much time as I needed. Um, you know, I used to be so angry when I was like, oh, why am I not achieving this and that by this age? But now I'm like, ah, you know, it took me 5 to 6 years to now have an ambition again. So be it. Like before, I was like, no, 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 right? And that took a lot of gracefulness to like, yeah, you know, like I know it's there, but let it be there and park on the side. And I think the healing space with you is that like, because I still keep engaging with you in multiple years, right? And it's not also every time. And you even told me like, Jourdan, why are you so ambitious with your coach with your healing journey? Like, calm the fuck down, right? That is also like a lesson for me, and I think I learned that from you about. Oh yeah, okay, okay, all right, gentle, slow, don't rush this, right? And I think that is the thing that I'm still learning to not rush, to like, all right, be patient. I think the gracefulness and the gentleness of your healing space has that uh, what is it? Permutation of different elements, which is like slowing down, patience, right? Yeah, I think those are the three words.
Thank you so much. I take them all in. I'm very touched listening to
But
this.
oh, thank you for listening and inviting me to this space. Okay,
Thank
my question to you:
Oh, okay. Yes.
what is one story that you rarely told anyone in this type of recording about your transformation that you were still nervous to share and not sure about it, but people eventually need to hear it?
Hmm. I think what I wish I had shared a bit more uh, is that transformation is physically intense.
Hmm.
Okay. I thought this year I was going to die.
Oh.
Okay. Not because I have a health issue, but because of the intensity of the transmutation of the energy.
Hmm.
So my closest people knew about it because I was very open. When I turned 50, I celebrated my birthday having dinner with 10 close friends in Zurich.
Hmm.
I said to them, like, I didn't know if I was going to make it because there's a feeling that I could have died before turning 50. And they couldn't understand it and I couldn't explain it. But it's more, now I realize it's much more about energetical death than physical death. But when you go through this, there's no difference. Especially when you are transforming more and more, you become higher and higher in your frequency. You can't
Right.
tell much difference between the body's death or energetic death. Had a very accelerated process of growing since 2020. Something about 2020, I was accelerated beyond belief in terms of my spiritual growth and energetic uh, ascension, right? So the
Uh-huh.
frequency is going up, and when my energetic frequency goes up, the body had to recalibrate itself, and I had
Uh-huh.
to be hospitalized for some time. My heart
Wow.
had issues because of this. And the doctors can partially see something, but they cannot always tell what happens. I knew what happened. And there's no way around this apart from experiencing it and let the body recalibrate. And in those moments, life becomes very slow, but very fast at the same time. It's very difficult to describe. And the culmination was 2024. I just thought, I was already telling my siblings, like, in case I don't wake up from my sleep, this is what you have to do with my stuff. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
my closest people, they're really strong because they allowed me to say, I mean, they freaked out, obviously,
Right.
but I had to tell them in case this happens because it was so real, right? And this is, for me, I would equate this to when the caterpillar crushed themselves into this
Uh-huh.
gooey substance, becoming a
A
butterfly.
butterfly.
My
Yeah.
my physical body, I felt like it was crushing. It was really crushing. I had Aura Ring that I monitor my stress level, where usually I do healing like once a week or once every 2 weeks. There was a period of a few months when my soul was saying, you do it again and again and again, 3 times in a week. And every time I could see that the whole day my body was very stressed. I mean, I was just lying, I was just sleeping. But there is a lot of movement within the body that that was not triggered by anything other than my own healing process. And the coverage of the topics is connected to the collective consciousness beyond my own, but I use my body to do this. So
Mm,
this is also another thing that I didn't know that I had signed up for this role. Is basically helping the collective consciousness to transmute through my body, right? So of
mm,
course, then I can understand that's why the first few years between 2020 and 2025, my body had to go through a certain recalibration to be able to hold that kind of energy without going into burnout. Although there was a period of time that I felt like I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do
mm,
this healing anymore. I'm beat. Like I have nothing to give. This was the kind of thing that I was feeling like I have nothing else to give. I have nothing else to do. But this was really the most intense growth or transformation that I experienced. And this was, and even when you ask me this question, it's not, I'm not so articulate in describing
mm.
exactly what it is, right? Because I'm still like, okay, this was recent. Until mid of November, it was I mean, I just thought, okay, I don't know if we're going to make it or not this year.
Wow.
And I came out of it, and there was a distinct feeling, you complete this. So now I'm recalibrating back, rebuilding everything else because now I almost don't live the way I did completely. It's like I don't relate to anything in the way that
Wow.
it was. Yeah. So it
Okay.
was just, I'm rediscovering
So
everything.
is it going to be a new Astuti now from
Possibly,
2025 onward?
possibly. I don't know. I said to my spiritual guides, right, and my higher self, I would like to experience growth without the suffering. That I
Mm,
have aced it. That cycle of growing through suffering, I've done it all. I've done it over
mm,
multiple lifetimes. Okay.
mm.
So I've spent the first 50 years of my life in this lifetime dedicatedly, very committedly on this. So I would like to experience if I still have many years to live, I understand that the natural state of soul is to grow, right? Energy is always growing. But I want to experience something different. I want to experience growth through joy, through pleasure, through
Mm-hmm.
security, through safety, through love. These are the ones. I don't need suffering. I know how to grow and deal with suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it. I aced it. I got my diploma. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't need it. I do. So I said that was the thing. The conversation in February last year, just before I turned 50, is this: I'm going to do whatever it takes to complete this cycle. You tell me what I have to do, but I want to. I want to graduate and then move to another way of growing. So I've
Wow.
never had that ever. I don't think in my life ever. So I
Wow.
don't know what that looks like.
Okay, I also want to grow without suffering, please. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll
Thank
see.
you.
We'll see. I don't know how much more times I have here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. The life that I know up to mid of November last year was suffering is an intrinsic part of growing, of
Mm-hmm.
ascending, of spiritual awakening for me. And now I finished. I graduated. I
Mm-hmm.
get the confirmation. The body was just behave very differently. Everything becomes different. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Thanks for sharing about it. Awesome.
Thank you for questioning that. Um,
Yeah,
I appreciate the question. So
of
on that
course.
note, this is concluding our conversation. Um, Jourdan, I will put your contact details.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm inviting all of you who feels connected to Jourdan's story, his work, his uh, how he serves, and also the Wise Underdog to get in touch and stay connected with him.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to say is that you can experience the life you desire when you choose it. And there are processes to get there, and there are also help
Mm-hmm.
to cross the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Jourdan is one support that can help you. I am one of that person also. And so I encourage you to sit with what you hear today, to allow the energy to touch your heart and to touch your body, and follow your heart and do what inspires you because of this conversation. So from Barcelona and Zurich,
Mm-hmm.
both Jourdan and I are going to love you and leave you. Stay well, everyone, and see you again in the next episode. And don't forget to like this episode, to subscribe to this channel, and to share both the episode and the channel to whoever you feel is going to get benefit from it. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.